faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend the steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Fellows and girls, have you ever seen a squadron of American bombers roaring through the air in formation? Have you seen newsreel pictures of Uncle Sam's destroyers cutting through the seas on patrol in search of enemy subs and surface raiders? I'm sure you have, and I bet you were thrilled. You probably felt terribly proud, too. Well, if you've been buying war-saving stamps regularly, you have a right to be proud. Not only because those planes and those ships represent the fighting spirit of America, but because you helped to build them. Yes, sir. Every time you bought a war-saving stamp, your money helped buy the labor and materials that are used to make planes and ships and equipment to knock out the Nazis and the Japs. So next time you hear some boy or girl in your block say, "Oh, shucks, what difference can one dime make?" you tell them every dime does make a difference. It makes a big difference. Tell them, for instance, that if every boy and girl in the United States bought just one 10-cent war-saving stamp every day, it would add up to enough money to buy a lot of swift pursuit planes, with which our Army and Navy forces could blast the Axis out of the air. And while you're at it, you might remind them that another way all you fellows and girls can help to win this war is to put back into circulation all the pennies and nickels you've been saving in your piggy banks and tin cans and glass jars. Because, as you know, when you put a lot of those coins away, it causes a shortage of them. And in order to make more, the Mint would have to use a lot of metals that are vital to America's war effort. Metals used to make guns and tanks and planes. So get permission tonight to break open your coin bank, and then take those coins and turn them in for war-saving stamps and bonds. In that way, you'll be doing your country a double service. So remember, please, a stamp a day will pave the way to victory.
And now, the adventures of Superman. While searching for the lost continent of Atlantis aboard the multi-depth submarine of Dr. Leander Cameron, our friends have had many adventures and were twice saved from utter destruction by the strength and courage of Superman. As our last episode came to a close, it was dusk. Superman, in the guise of Clark Kent, Lois, Editor White, and Dr. Cameron, were standing in the conning tower of the disabled submarine, watching the approach of a large tanker, which appeared to be heading straight for them, apparently without spotting the low-lying sub. Suddenly, the tanker sounded 3 warning blasts. Our friends knew they were discovered. But strangely enough, without altering her course, the tanker kept coming straight on, seemingly determined to cut the sub in two. Listen.
Well, they're going to run us down.
You're right. We'll be cut in two.
They can't do this to us. I won't stand it. I'll take this up with the proper authorities. Wait and see.
No time to think about that now. Look here, maybe you'd all better go below.
Are you out of your mind? You just told Mr. White and me to bring the others up here. Now you want us to go below, and we'll certainly be killed.
Oh, I thought maybe... Yes, Kent? You thought what? Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
No, Clark. Every now and then I have the feeling that you're deliberately trying to get rid of us.
Oh, stop arguing, you two. This is no time for arguments. Blast who's on that tanker. They must see us, or they wouldn't have blown that whistle. Are they deliberately going to run us down?
It looks like it to me. We'd better prepare to abandon ship. Nicodemus, Abner, Joshua, better get up here in the conning tower if you want to save your neck.
Have you a life raft, Leander?
Oh, we have one, but there's no time to get it now. There's no time for anything. Here comes that tanker now. Another few seconds.
Oh, this is horrible. Horrible. That huge ship towering above us, about to cut us in two. Clark, Mr. Kent.
Steady on. Here it comes. It's going to hit us just after our beam. There's only one thing to do. Get ready to jump into the water. Oh, that's practically suicide. If they're deliberately running us down, they're certainly not going to bother to pick us up.
It's too late for anything now. Here she comes. Stand by, Hawk.
Mr. White!
As the tanker cuts through Dr. Cameron's already crippled multi-depth submarine and bathysphere, all those on board the sub are thrown clear into the water. Superman immediately drops his disguise of Clark Kent and, as Superman, goes to the rescue of his friend.
All right, Lois. I've got you.
Oh, Superman. It's you.
Yes. Can you stay above water?
Yes, I think so.
Good. I'll be back to you in a minute. I've got to get the others. Oh, there's Editor White.
Going under.
Got you.
Well, who?
Pick up Lois. There we are. Now, there's Dr. Cameron floundering in the water with Nicodemus nearby. Got to work fast.
I tell you, Nicodemus, I'm a much better swimmer than you are.
Better stay up longer than you do. I wouldn't worry about that, gentlemen. There. Climb up onto my shoulders.
Jupiter, it's Superman again, boy, but you'll get around.
The lucky thing for us that he does.
Come on. That's right. Onto my shoulders. Both of you.
Don't forget Abner and Joshua.
There we are. Don't worry. They're right over there. I'll have them in a moment.
Help me. Help me.
Never help nobody. Don't know why we should go out of our way to help them.
You two. Both of you. Can you hold on to my legs?
Heavenly praise. Is the man in the red cape that moves too?
Never mind that. Can you hold on to my legs? Do you have the strength?
Yeah, sure.
All right, then grab hold. One of you on each leg. That's it. All right, now then. Up! Up!
Where are you taking us?
Aboard that tanker that ran you down. You're all soaking wet, and you'll need food and warmth immediately.
No, we'll never find it there. Whoever's running that ship must be the meanest man in the world.
Oh, my poor multi-depth submarine in bathysphere, gone forever. We'll never find the lost continent of Atlantis now.
Hold tight. I'm going to land on the deck of that tanker. Here we go. All right, this is your station. Everybody off.
Wait a minute, Superman. What about Clark Kent? What are you going to do about him?
You'll find him on deck over there behind the smokestack if he's conscious. I picked him up first.
Oh.
Oh, Superman, I don't know how to thank you.
Forget it. Up! Up! And away!
Disappearing into the night sky, Superman immediately swings around and lands once again on the deck of the tanker, out of sight of the others. As our friends come toward him, he greets them as Clark Kent.
Hello.
Clark, is that you?
None other. Well, I see Superman saved the rest of you as well.
He certainly did.
Oh, thank
I never cease wondering where we'd be if it weren't for Superman.
Same
Oh,
here.
never mind wondering about things that really are unimportant at the moment. We're faced with a situation, a rather difficult one, I should say.
Well, what do you mean, Doctor?
We are now standing on the deck of the very ship whose crew willfully and deliberately crashed into our submarine and sank it at great risk to our lives. Question, what course of action shall we follow?
Well, I'd say let's get right up and have a straight talk with the captain.
That makes sense to me.
Any of us armed? Nicodemus, you have a revolver?
Did I ever have a revolver?
I don't recall. Well, seems we're unarmed, so we can't put up much of a fight. Therefore, we shall adopt a diplomatic attitude.
Meaning what?
We shall pretend that we think that the captain didn't see us and that he did not deliberately run us down. We shall endeavor to curry favor with him so that...
Leander, I think we're wasting a good deal of time in useless talk. Let's go forward at once and interview the captain.
That's a good idea. Let's go, Chief.
And so far as being diplomatic is concerned, the first thing I intend to do is to give him a piece of my mind. Following that, the first opportunity, I shall have recourse to law.
Good for you, Mr. White. If it hadn't been for Superman, we'd all be drowning
No,
now.
very true. Very, very, very true.
There's the pilot's cabin on the next deck above. Let's take these stairs here. Yep. They'll lead us right to the door of the cabin, Rick.
Oh, what I won't tell that captain of this vessel when I meet him face to face.
Now, take it easy, Chief. You never know. There may have been a perfectly legitimate reason for running us down.
Oh, nonsense, Clark. They blew their whistle. That proves that they saw us.
I know,
And
but-
how anyone could be so brutal as to deliberately run down another vessel, well, it's beyond me.
I intend to ask a few questions as to who is going to replace my multi-depth submarine in bathysphere.
Here we are. Here's the pilot's cabin. Let's go in. Hello, this is funny.
There's nobody here.
Nonsense. Why, the ship can't be running by itself.
Harry, why must you deny what is right before your face? The ship is moving along, but there's obviously no one at the wheel.
Look there. The wheel's been set on a straight course. You see that lock on it?
Yes, I see it.
Well, this is certainly very peculiar.
Nothing peculiar about it, really. Anyone who would deliberately run us down would be the type of person to leave a wheel untended while he while he had dinner, for instance.
Oh, ridiculous, Leander. There's no point in that. One member of the crew would certainly take over while the man at the wheel went below to eat. There's something very peculiar about this. Very peculiar.
Well, now that I think of it, isn't it rather peculiar that we saw no sailors on deck since we boarded this ship?
That's right. Hey, there's something fishy here.
I suggest we go below and find the crew. I want to have this thing out with them right now. Oh, wait a minute. That rope hanging from the ceiling.
It's got a handle on it. What would that be for?
If I'm not mistaken, wait a minute, I'll pull it. Uh-huh. That's the whistle we heard when this ship ran us down. There certainly must have been someone in this cabin that time.
It is strange, isn't it? Finding this cabin empty, I mean.
More than strange. There's something pretty queer going on here.
Well, then, let's get to the bottom of it at once.
Well, here, that door must lead into the captain's quarters. Let's try it. Right.
Well, this is the captain's cabin, all right.
Yes, but there's nobody here either.
Now, the only conclusion that can possibly be reached is one that I offered you before. This is the dinner hour. There's nobody in the pilot's house. The wheel has been locked and set on a straight course. Ergo, they must all be at dinner at this very moment. I suggest we find the dining saloon at once.
Well, silly as it may sound, you may be right. Come on, let's find the dining saloon. Through this door here. All right, now down these steps to the deck below. Careful now.
Well, if the captain of this vessel has actually let his ship run without a man at the wheel, I shall certainly have him brought up on charges in a maritime court. Or wherever they try people in that court.
Say nothing of running down in mid-Atlantic and trying to sink my multi-depth submarine in bathysphere. It's criminal, that's what it is. Downright criminal.
Yes, of course. But first we've got to find someone to accuse of this criminal action.
Yeah, the dining saloon ought to be along here somewhere.
This ship follows the regular plan of tankers. Yes, here's the dining saloon right here. Let's go in.
Well, I'll be...
This is beginning to give me the creep.
Queer, very queer.
That long table in the center of the room is set for 12 people. But there's nobody here.
Me, positively amazing. Just a minute.
What is it, Clark?
Well, look here. These plates are filled with soup.
Wait.
Every one of them. And by heavens, the soup is hot.
What? You don't mean to
It's the
tell me
truth.
that...
Here, taste it for yourself.
What? Well, by heaven, Kent, you're right. That soup is hot.
As hot as if it had just been served.
You people noticed anything?
What do you mean, Lois?
Well, since we've been aboard this ship, we haven't heard one sound, and we haven't seen one single person.
Okay.
As Clark mentioned before, you always find some members of the crew of any ship on deck, whatever the time may be, and we've seen no one above or below deck. Well, it's my opinion there's nobody on this ship at all.
I think you're right.
Oh, but there must be. Where the ship is running... and-
With the wheel locked.
Yes, but even so, it's running. And somebody must have blown that whistle. And, great Scott, this soup has just been served. There must be someone aboard.
On the contrary, Chief, I agree with Lois.
What?
I've got a feeling this ship is deserted.
But Kent, if that's true, what does it mean?
It means we've stumbled into another mystery. Mystery for which I don't know how we'll ever find an answer.
Completely baffled, our friends stare at the still steaming soup on the empty dining table set for 12. What is the meaning of this strange new mystery? What is the answer to the baffling puzzle of a ship without a crew? Be sure to be with us tomorrow and every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Tune in and follow The Adventures of Superman. And now, The Adventures of Superman. As you remember, in our last episode, we heard how Dr. Cameron's multi-depth submarine, bearing Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Perry White, together with Dr. Cameron and his crew, was almost wrecked by a giant octopus, encountered miles below the surface of the Atlantic. Thanks to Superman, however, our friends and the submarine were saved from destruction. Later, toward evening, as the submarine lay helpless on the surface, it was rammed and sunk, cut in two, by a tanker. Thanks again to Superman, the lives of our friends were saved, and they were brought by the Man of Steel to the deck of the tanker itself. Finding no one in sight, they went at once to the pilot house of the ship, only to discover that it was empty also. Neither the captain nor any members of his crew was anywhere to be found. Our friends began a search of the ship, and as they entered the dining saloon, they suddenly realized the truth, and a strange and curious truth it was. Listen.
Clark, you actually mean to say that you don't believe there's a soul on board this ship? That it's running without a crew?
Well, draw your own conclusions, Lois. Look, that dinner table is set for 12. The plates are filled with soup. Soup so hot that it almost scalds the tongue. Yet there's no one here.
Well, I grant you that, Kent. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the ship is empty.
No, it doesn't.
Now, wait a minute. Just a few moments ago, we all mentioned an eerie feeling of loneliness about this ship.
Yes?
There was no one in the pilot house, no men on deck, and no one in the captain's quarters. Now we walk into this dining saloon and find places set for 12. 12 plates of hot, steamy soup, and no one here to eat it. Now, maybe you can explain it.
No, I can't. But the captain and crew must be aboard somewhere. Great Scott, Kent. This ship is running, moving along at a fairly good clip.
Well, we'll probably find that our boilers have been stoked and left with the dampers wide open.
By heaven, I hate to agree with you, but I've got a feeling that you're right.
Leander, what do you think of all this?
Yes, Dr. Cameron, you know a good deal about the sea. Perhaps you can explain this mystery.
No, indeed. I'm a man of science, an Einstein, as it were, rather than a Sherlock Holmes. This mystery has me completely baffled.
Well, it's a relief to hear you say there's something you can't do.
Nicodemus, I will no longer suffer the slings and arrows of your sarcasm quietly. Another such caustic comment from your lips, and I shall slowly strike you on the nose.
You and who else?
Me, sir. I, Leander Euthanasia Cameron.
Okay, just that. Now, look here, you two. This is no time for such horseplay. This looks serious. Kent, if we're right in assuming there's no one aboard this ship, we've certainly landed ourselves from the frying pan into the fire.
We sure have. Suppose we find out for sure, Chief.
All right.
Before we jump to conclusions, let's look through the ship and see what we can find.
Couldn't we eat first?
I suggest, Nicodemus, that we wait until we finish searching the ship. I tell you what, in order to get it all over with as quickly as possible, we'll all take different directions and search different parts of the ship. We'll meet outside the door of the dining saloon in, well, let's say exactly half an hour.
An excellent suggestion, most excellent indeed. I might have made it myself if given time. As a matter of fact, I'm certain it would undoubtedly have occurred to me.
All right. Let's go out on deck.
Right. I'll open the door.
Ooh, gracious, it's awfully damp out here on deck.
Yes, there's a fog coming up.
Yes, and it looks like it's going to be a thick one.
In that case, I think we'd better go down into the boiler room, Mr. White, and stop the engines of this ship. No telling what we might run into during a fog.
Good suggestion, Kent.
While we're on our way down, we can search the forward end of the ship. Dr. Cameron, suppose you and your men go aft and see what you can find. Lois, you come with us.
Very good, Kent, and we'll all meet back here outside the dining saloon in half an hour.
If that meets with your approval, Doctor.
I should say, all things considered, we'll be ginger peachy. Come, Nicodemus, come, men, yards and away.
I've never seen a man like you. You're a born... Well, Kent, any idea where the engine room is and how to get to it?
I have a vague idea of how a tanker is laid out. Let's move up the deck. I think we've come to a companionway leading down to the engine room.
The fog is really getting thick now. It's rolling in across the deck in great smoky waves.
Yes, and the quicker we throttle down the engines on this ship, the better. Ah, here we are. Here's the door leading to a companionway. Come on, let's go in.
Now, watch your footing here, Lois. These steps leading down are terribly steep.
Yes, I see. They are. I simply can't understand this. I've been trying to figure out some sensible solution to all this hocus-pocus, but really it's impossible.
Nothing is impossible as a solution, Lois. The most baffling mysteries are sometimes the easiest to see through.
Keep talking, Father Vance. You're going great, so far as talk is concerned.
Will you two stop fencing and keep your eyes and ears open? Ah, here we are. Where do you think this corridor leads to, Kent?
Well, the doors on either side must lead to the officers' cabins. Let's have a look.
Huh. Well, would you look at that. Lights on full, but nobody in the cabin.
Everything seems to be in order, too.
Yeah. Let's try the next one.
All right, come on.
Same thing. Light on in the cabin and no one in it. Wait a minute, Clark.
Yes?
What are you staring at, Lois?
Look over there. A bowl of water, a shaving brush standing next to it, and a straight razor. There's a towel lying there, too.
By heavens, Kent, this is beginning to get under my skin. There's soap on that brush, and... Yes, by George, the water in that bowl is warm. Someone was just about to shave when something happened.
Yes, but what?
Well, I'd give a fortune at this moment to know.
Hey, you two.
Yes, Clark?
Here's the companionway leading to the engine room.
All right with you, Kent.
Down this way. Perhaps you better wait here, Lois.
Not on your life.
Okay, come on then. Down these steps. Watch your footing, though. They're steep.
Don't worry about me.
It's the engine room, all right. I can hear the engine.
Uh-huh. Here we are.
How do you stop these engines? Any idea?
No, but there must be some levers to pull or some such thing. Don't see anyone around, do you?
No, not a soul.
Kent, look there. I think those are the levers that you were talking about.
Let's have a look. Yes, this seems to be right. This lever is marked with various speeds from slow to full. It's on slow speed now. I'll just shove it into the spot marked stop and see what happens.
That's it, all right.
Now that we've stopped the ship, aren't we in danger of drifting?
Yes, I think we'd better get above decks and see if we can drop the anchor.
Well, can we do that alone?
Well, if she's a fairly modern ship, yes. The anchor windlass acts on a ratchet mechanism with a catch. All we'll have to do is release the catch, I think.
All right, Kent. Lead the way.
All right, just up these stairs again.
Well, what are you stopping for?
We'll have one last look around. Just can't comprehend all this. An engine room with the engines running, but no one in it. It all looks so curiously deserted. Well, come along.
Well, here's the corridor again. Think we ought to have a look in the cabins that we missed?
Well, later, perhaps. Right now, we better get above decks and drop that anchor.
Okay, Kent. Say, there's a funny thing about you.
What's that, Chief?
You're a strange mixture. Sometimes you act as if the only thing you had in that body of yours was fear. At other times, such as now, you have a certain commanding manner, a certain way of saying and doing things that commands respect.
I've noticed that myself, Mr. White. Sometimes, Clark, I almost suspect you of being two people.
Well, aren't we all sometimes? Come on, up these steps here to the deck above. Watch your step, though.
Another thing I've noticed. Every time we start to talk about you, you adroitly change the subject. I'm beginning to think that you're concealing some deep, dark secret about yourself.
Perhaps I am. You never can tell. Maybe I got a police record a mile long.
Oh, don't be silly. Here's the deck. Gracious, that fog has gotten thick.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we drop anchor, there's nothing to guarantee us we won't get
Well,
rammed.
that's true, but we'll be safer than if we were drifting, so long as we keep a foghorn going. Come on, let's go forward.
This is fantastic. Thoroughly and completely fantastic. Kent, what could have happened to the crew of this ship? Whatever it was, it must have occurred very shortly before Superman brought us aboard. Shortly before we were rammed and sunk.
I don't know. We've solved some pretty puzzling mysteries in our time. I always had the feeling we'd never run into anything more baffling than the tiny men or that business of the statues being broken, but this is something that beats anything I've ever seen before.
We're almost at the prow of the ship, Clark. We can't go much further.
Oh, yes, there's the anchor windlass right up ahead.
Great Scott, this fog is getting thick. We ought to light some riding lights if we can.
Well, that wouldn't do much good. Never be seen in time. As soon as we drop anchor, we'll go back to the pilot house and start blowing the fog whistle. If there's one on board.
I'm sure there must be.
No doubt. Well, here we are. Here's the anchor windlass.
So, can I give you a hand, Kent?
No, Chief, thanks. All I have to do is move the catch on that ratchet. Let's see now. Ah, yes, here we are. That does it. Well, our half hour is nearly up. We'd better get back to the dining saloon to meet Dr. Cameron and his men. They'll be wondering what happened.
Great heavens!
Steady, both of you. Something's happened. Come on!
Through the fog-bound night, aboard a ship mysteriously empty of captain and crew, comes a strange and terrifying scream. Who screamed? And what could have happened? What can possibly be the answer to this curious and baffling riddle? Be sure to be with us tomorrow for one of the most thrilling adventures of all. And listen every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Tune in and follow The Adventures of Superman. And now, The Adventures of Superman. Weird and baffling is the adventure in which our friends now find themselves. As you remember, the submarine in which they were searching for the lost continent of Atlantis was rammed and sunk by a tanker in the mid-Atlantic. Later, they were plucked from the icy waters and brought safely aboard the tanker by Superman. It was then that their adventure really began, for they discovered that although the ship was running at slow speed, there was not a soul aboard her. The ship was completely deserted. Entering the dining saloon, they found dinner set for 12, with soup still steaming in the plates. When later, after searching the ship, they returned to the dining saloon, they found the captain of the vessel sitting at the head of the table. The captain was dead. Shortly after this, as they were discussing this weird circumstance, another very strange thing happened. Listen.
Well, one thing is certain, there's not a soul aboard this ship.
Except for that dead captain sitting in that chair at the head of the table.
Yeah.
I've been wondering, do you think he might have been killed whilst we were aboard the ship?
What do you mean, Nicodemus?
Well, you remember when this here tanker rammed and sank us, she sounded 3 warning blasts on her whistle.
Yes?
Well, now, somebody must have pulled the cord to sound off that blast.
Unless the ship is haunted.
Oh, nonsense, Jim. There are no such things as ghosts. The very idea of ghosts haunting a ship or anything else is ridiculous.
Listen, Clark. What's that?
Well, that's the foghorn on this ship. Somebody's blowing the foghorn.
But there's nobody aboard the ship.
Well, there must be. Someone is certainly sounding that foghorn. Come on.
Where to, Kent?
To the pilot house. That's where the foghorn is located. Whoever's sounding it must be there. Nicodemus.
Yes?
You stay here with the captain. I'm taking no chances on his body disappearing or anything else strange happening in this dining saloon.
Now, just a minute, Kent, just a minute. I ain't taking orders from you.
You'll take orders from me or I'll pitch you over the side.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, everybody. Come on. You too, Jim.
You bet I'm coming.
Why, Clark, I'm amazed at you.
All right. Along the deck here. Pilot house is just up ahead. What? What did you mean, Lois?
The way you spoke to Nicodemus. You acted like someone who's used to giving commands and being obeyed. It doesn't check with the things I know about you.
Yeah, Miss Lane is right.
Oh, well, I occasionally I forget myself.
Yes, I suppose that's it.
Here are the steps to the pilot house. Great Scott, that foghorn sure was loud.
Oh, of course. It's just above us.
Golly, let's get up there. There must be somebody blowing that foghorn.
I'm sure of it. Come on. Careful, Jim.
Easy, Lois.
All right, here's the door to the cabin.
Well, open it and go in.
All right, all right.
Holy mackerel. What in the name of heaven is that?
Stand back, all of you.
Clark, is it human?
Hello. I don't really know.
It looks like a man. An old man. Dressed entirely in seaweed.
That's it. He's covered all over with seaweed. But his face is dead, tasty white. Ooh.
All right now, friends. Just let go of that foghorn handle. Let go, I said. Yeah, I don't like
Here,
to
let
hit
me
it.
take a hand on this, Ken. All right, you. Now get your hands off that handle. Here, help me, Clark. Okay. We just have to force him away from it.
Look out! Look out! He's got long nails.
Golly. Nice work, Mr. White. That's the old hunter.
Well, punch, Chief. He's out cold.
Mr. White, Clark, what in the world is the meaning of this strange thing?
It's a man, Lois. A very old man. Dressed in seaweed from head to foot. He's evidently crazy.
Undoubtedly.
It looks like something horrible that just crawled out of the sea.
But I thought there wasn't another soul on this ship beside ourselves.
Well, obviously we were wrong. Finding this strange old creature sounding the foghorn doesn't simplify the mystery. Who is he? What's he doing here?
It's you and me.
Oh, he's so awful looking.
He's beginning to move. He's coming too.
Kent, what do you think we ought to do with him?
Well, he's dangerous. We'd better tie him up.
Yeah? Well, with what?
I think our handkerchiefs will do. Jimmy, let me have yours, will you?
All right.
Mr. White?
Here you are.
I have
Thanks.
one, Clark.
All right, Lois, thanks.
That's it.
Now, let's see here. There. Now, Chief, you take these two and knot them together good, will you?
Yeah, I will.
And tie his ankles.
All right.
I'll tie his wrists with these.
All right.
Look. Ooh, he's opened his eyes.
Lois, what?
His eyes are so malevolent, so full of hate, viciousness.
He's not laughing anymore. Just lying there, glaring at us.
There, that'll hold his hands. How about it, Chief?
Well, his ankles are tied securely.
Good.
He'll never get out of that woodman's knot.
I'll say he won't.
Well, what do we do with him now?
Let's leave him here for the time being. I just had an idea.
Yes, Clark?
Just occurred to me if there's an answer to this mystery anywhere, it ought to be in the captain's log.
The log. Of course, Kent. I never thought of that.
The captain's cabin is right through that door there. Suppose we go in and have a look for the log.
Yeah, come on.
No sooner said than done.
Now, where would the log be?
Well, in his desk, I should say. Let's have a look.
Well, nothing here on
I'll
top.
try this drawer here.
Good, Jim.
Don't see anything that looks like a log.
Wait a minute. Look, I think this is it here.
Let's have a look.
There. Isn't that it?
Let's see, today is December. Now, here we are, the last entry. What time is it?
Let's see. According to my wristwatch, it's exactly 10 minutes past 8.
Well, this entry is dated today, and the time noted is 6:15. That's less than 2 hours ago.
Golly. Well, what's it say, Mr. Kent?
Here, I'll read it to you. Aboard the Albatross, bound east for Liverpool. I am about to join my officers in the dining saloon for our evening meal. But before I do so, I deem it wise to put down in writing the things that have happened to us aboard this ship this day. To recount my fears so that those who find us will know what horrible thing it was that finally did us in.
Golly. Apparently he knew something was going to happen. He was afraid. So amazing to think that he wrote that less than 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
We've been aboard this ship, the Albatross, about an hour and a half. Whatever happened took place within half an hour after he wrote that. Go on, Kent.
Huh? Oh, it goes on here. The day was quite uneventful until 4 o'clock this afternoon. Strong, the first mate, came to me and said that he had seen the old man of the seaweed crawl aboard ship at the taffrail.
What?
He was genuinely frightened, I could see that, and I tried to calm his fears. The old man of the seaweed is, of course, nothing but a superstition, and I certainly do not believe that...
Clark, that look on your face, what's the matter? What is it?
The pen sort of scrawls along here as if it had slipped. Then... Great heavens.
Golly, Mr. Kent, what is it?
Yes, Clark, for heaven's sake.
Listen to this. As I've been writing this, I've had the feeling that someone was watching me. This very moment I looked up, and standing before me in the doorway is the old man of the seaweed. I cannot understand this. I've never believed in this legend of the sea. I've never believed in the harm this old man can do. But at this very moment, he is moving toward me, laughing quietly, but horribly.
Holy smokes.
Well, go on.
That's all. The log ends right there.
Oh, but what does it mean?
Yes, Kent. What happened here after he wrote that?
Well, the answer seems pretty obvious. The captain was killed by the old man of the seaweed.
Gosh, Mr. Kent, who is the old man of the seaweed?
That man out there, that demented creature we just tied up.
Now, wait a minute, Kent. Let's be sensible. In the log, the captain tells us the first mate saw that man out there crawling out of the sea.
That's right.
That just isn't possible.
Of course, Clark, this is absolutely fantastic.
I wonder. Suppose we just go over what's happened to us in the last 2 hours. Our submarine was rammed and sunk by this tanker.
Yes.
The tanker blew 3 warning blasts before it sank us.
Right.
Superman brought us safely aboard, and then we discovered that the ship was running without a crew.
Don't forget, when we went down into the dining saloon, we found places set for 12 and no one there. And the soup and the plates was hot.
I'm not forgetting that, Lois.
And then later on, when we came back to the dining saloon after searching the ship, we found the captain sitting at the head of the table, dead.
Right.
Golly, all this happened before I got here. That's right, Jimmy. And whatever's happened since, you know about. All right, Clark, we've gone over the situation thoroughly. You gave me the impression after we've done that you'd be able to offer some explanation for all this mystery.
Oh, sorry, Lois. I didn't mean to do exactly that. I was just trying to recall what's happened in the last 2 hours to find a clue if possible, but I can't. Oh, you're right. This is a fantastic business. I suggest we go into the pilot house again and try to get something out of the old man of the seaweed.
Oh, but he's crazy, Kent. I don't think he'll be able to tell us anything.
Well, you never know. Come on.
There he is, lying on the floor. Looks like just a bundle of seaweed.
Yeah, seems to have passed out again.
Well, we'll soon wake him up. All right, friends, step out of it. Come on now. What in the world?
Clark, what's the matter?
I went to pick him up by the collar, and look.
Good heavens, I can't believe it.
Mr. Kent, you're just holding a big bunch of seaweed in your hand. There's no man there at all.
Has there ever been a mystery as strange and baffling as this? Maybe you figured out the answer. Well, in any case, be sure to tune in tomorrow and every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Tune in and follow The Adventures of Superman.